Hi, thanks for turning in your TED Talk preparation final draft. I think these notes are a great start to preparing your TED Talk. Coming up here, I'm going to give you some personalized feedback on the audience analysis, introduction, body, and conclusion. And hopefully these ideas will help you take your TED Talk to the next level before you present to the class. You are of course, the artist for the speech, and I trust you completely to prepare a wonderful presentation. So please don't see these comments as a judgment or anything like that. I'm just trying to provide some friendly advice that you can perhaps use or might inspire you to keep working on your presentation and really take it to that next level, because I know you're a good speaker and you're ready for some additional challenges. So let's go ahead and take a look. So your audience analysis, you've addressed the key items for an audience analysis. You're looking at what interests them. So learning how to overcome failure seems like something you've noticed that your audience could really benefit from. You've also talked about their previous knowledge. So it looks like they're familiar with failure in regards to helping them learn or to improve a skill like playing a sport. Preconceived notions, you don't answer this question. So when you're finalizing this for your submission when you present, definitely include this information here. And the way to get that information, you might have to create a little survey and just go ahead and ask everybody in class if they what their kind of take on failure is. Like, do they currently see it as something bad, or do they currently see it as something that's useful for them to continue growing and to develop personally? And asking them will help you to know where they're currently at and how to kind of reach out to them where they're at and take them to the place that you would like them to go. You have answered the question about what presentation aids you're planning to use. So it looks like a PowerPoint and a handout. And this is a great way. The PowerPoint will be helpful when you present, and the handout, you can design the handout in such a way that it might be something that people in the audience could take home and put on their mirror or put somewhere in their room or someplace as a reminder to themselves not to give up and to keep going. That might be nice, or some sort of activity that can guide them on a reflection, or I'm not sure. It's really up to you, but the neat thing about a handout is that the audience gets to take it home and can use it to continue exploring your ideas that you present in your TED Talk and applying it in their own life in whatever way that you guide them to do that. Your audience analysis is on its way. There's just one question that you haven't answered yet, and everything else seems to be coming along. Your introduction, you have your attention getter, your thesis, your credibility statement, the what's in it for the audience, and your preview of your three main ideas is outstanding. For the what's in it for your audience, you mentioned that facing failure, you can learn how to overcome it. That's great. You might want to be a little bit more specific here. And because I think the more specific you are, the more likely the audience is to see that you're not just kind of giving them empty suggestions. You're not kind of glazing over it. You're really going to help them. And so maybe including a little bit more specifics here will establish that connection with your audience. And I think your credibility statement also helps establish that connection about why the audience should trust you and know that what you're saying will indeed help them to be a better student, to be a better person. Your main ideas are outstanding. I think they all help you accomplish your purpose for the presentation. So let's move on to the body. It looks like you're using the problem cost solution pattern, and you've started to develop supporting materials to help you elaborate on your ideas for your presentation. That's great. I think it's important to include a variety of supporting materials for this speech. Since you're going to be talking for 5 to 7 minutes, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to engage your audience and really help them to see the value of what you're talking about and feel like you value them as the audience. So including a variety of supporting materials is usually a great way to do that. You can include personal stories, so maybe share a time when you failed, but as you persevered and stuck to it, it turned into a really wonderful experience for you in your life because it inspired you to grow or to challenge yourself or take a risk. I don't know, something like that. You want to bring in your research to show how people have studied failure and the role that it plays within education or growth. You can bring in I think even jokes, maybe. I mean, this topic has the potential to be very serious, but you could use some humor to talk about some things that might be harder to talk about in a serious way. And again, that's just an idea. I'm not sure if that fits your overall goal for the speech or not. So don't do it if it doesn't seem to make sense. But you definitely do want to include more of a variety in your supporting material. I like that you have started to include evidence in your presentation. So you mentioned an article titled 5 Ways to Overcome Failure. When you're citing the source, you're going to want to include a little bit more information. So when you're saying the source out loud when you present, which you'll need to do for all 3 of your sources, you want to share the author, the title, and the date. So for this source, you could say something like, according to, well, let me scroll down and see if you don't have your reference list. So I'm not going to be able to fill in the information for you, but you would want to say something like, according to Dr. blah, 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 and blah, 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 in the article titled 5 Ways to Overcome Failure, published in 2017, the best way to overcome failure are, so you can kind of get a sense of the phrasing, but you'll want to include the authors, the title, and the date for each of your 3 sources. Right, so when you're looking to improve the body of your presentation, definitely incorporate additional supporting material, include a variety of supporting material. Make sure to include those personal stories or stories, case studies, statistics, examples, jokes. Just include a variety. That way it's engaging. And remember to include your research within the body of your presentation as well. And moving on to your conclusion, you have all 3 elements done: the summary of your main ideas, the reinforcement of your purpose or your thesis statement, and that memorable quote at the end. I think that's a great way to end your speech. So excellent work. And I think it's a wonderful quote. Your reference list. So your conclusion is excellent. I think it's really well prepared. For your reference list, you don't have anything here yet. So make sure when you finalize this and resubmit it for your TED Talk speech that you include your 3 sources here. Now, if you need a little refresher on how to use APA format, if you go to, the DACC homepage, you'll see this tab for library services. Click on library. And you can find sources. If you click on find, you'll see articles, books, all kinds of information that you can do to help you as you conduct your research. And then if you need help with citations, you can click here on this citation tab. Go to let's see, how is that? It's not letting me click. Okay, let's see. Sorry about this. So if you go to citations here, you can click on the citation tool. I guess it takes you to a place that'll help you cite your APA. Let me see if there's something else available for you here. I feel like there used to be an APA handout, but I guess not. But we'll but that information is included in our Canvas course. So there's a variety of tools available to you to help you do some research or to write your sources in APA format, depending on what you need. So I hope this feedback was helpful. We talked about ways to complete your audience analysis talked about your introduction as well as gave you some suggestions to continue working on the body of your speech, and your conclusion looks stellar as it is. Hopefully this will help you to develop your presentation. One last thing before we go, when you're practicing your presentation, I recommend that you get your cell phone out, and you can either make a video of yourself practicing, and this will help you to note how your eye contact is, how the vocal variety, maybe if you're speaking too fast or these kinds of things, and then also help you to know what you're doing with your hands, so your gestures. That's always good feedback, but it's especially, I think what will be especially important is knowing how long your presentation is. So you want to time yourself before you give your TED Talk, and just double check that your speech is in that window of 5 to 7 minutes. And if you are in there, then you're good. If it's a little bit short, then you're going to want to add additional supporting material before you give your speech in class. All right, you're on your way. I can't wait to see your presentation. Thank you.